YouTube, what's the deal? It's your girl Jahira, and I am back. I am coming back to discuss the outcome of a story that I brought to y'all over a year ago. And the story involves Brandon McInerney, whom some of you may know, if you like my old school subtastics would remember that I did a video, again, over a year ago regarding the jury selection that was to begin in his trial. For those of you who don't remember who Brandon McInerney is, he was the teenage boy who ended up shooting a young gay male by the name of Larry or Lawrence King twice in the back of the head in 2008 at school. And the story as it broke, and as Ellen said, it was due to the fact that Larry had asked Brendan to be his Valentine. For those of you who have followed that story, you know that his trial ended in a mistrial. The jury could not come to a cohesive conclusion as to whether or not Brandon should be tried as an adult. The prosecution was ready to go forward with the retrial, but Brandon and his team have made the decision to take a plea where he will serve 21 years for the shooting of Lawrence King. He will not be getting credit for time served. He will not get time reduced for good behavior. He is going to serve 21 years straight in a combination of youth facilities as well as prison. This video that I made over a year ago, y'all, I'm already smoking, so you know what it is. This video that I made has been, without question, one of the most contentious videos that I've ever done in terms of inciting a reaction in people. I mean, I'm going to link this video to that video, and you'll see, you know, over the past year where I have engaged in discourse with people, and y'all should only see the comments that I've deleted from that video alone. People have been very divided about this issue, about whether or not it was fair to try Brandon as an adult, as to whether or not Larry was too, what's the word I'm looking for, boisterous in his desire for Brandon, as though any of this matters. Basically, some people have tried to say, and actually the defense has tried to say, and paint this picture of Larry as a very flamboyant individual who made overt sexual gestures at the boys in his school and things of that nature, as though somehow that justified his murder. Although I do find that in most cases where, you know, the term hate crime is floated around, often the victim of said hate crime is painted this picture of, you know, somehow inciting these murderous tendencies in their killers. I'm not here really to inject my own opinion as to whether or not Brandon should have been tried as an adult or not. I'm not here to inject my opinion as to whether or not I believe that Larry brought this on himself. I'm not really here to do any of that. I'm here because, and honestly, to give y'all a little bit of backstory in terms of my process, and some of you already know this, generally when I see a news story, I don't take a great deal of time to map out what I'm going to say and, you know, pontificate on how best to articulate myself and refine my vernacular and what have you. I really do kind of, it's a knee-jerk reaction. I go from the gut. That's pretty much all I know. And typically that's worked for me. But having seen this story, which for the record is coming to you courtesy of rodonline.typepad.com, of course, links below. It took me about 2 hours and change for me to cut my camera on, because I wanted to take some time and deliberate with myself as to whether or not my feelings, you know, that I had expressed during the original video had changed now, a year later. And truthfully, they have not. And even more truthfully, I am no closer to having answers now than I was then. Because no matter what the outcome of this particular case was or was going to be, I don't see how justice, as we define it, in any permutation, could have been served. I don't think justice would have been served if Brandon was tried as a child. I don't think that justice would have been served if Brandon had been given life without parole. I don't think that justice can be served when you're talking about two teenagers with their entire lives ahead of them, and one of them being so scared. So scared as to the perception that they might be considered gay due to the overt advances made by another boy, that they believed that the only recourse that they could possibly take was murder. There is no justice that can come out of a situation like that because it is an unjust set of circumstances. And again, this is me and this is my opinion. And for those of you who have just found their way over to my channel, this is what it is. So make of it what you will. I'm not really speaking to y'all. No disrespect. This is for my subtastics. I don't think that anything could have been done that would have satisfied everybody. And I certainly know that nothing could have been done that would have accurately satisfied the guardians of Larry King. I'm trying to give y'all the news article, but I'm actually just going to leave it for y'all to read. It is a sad state of affairs, excuse me, that we are living in a world where an expression of attraction towards somebody, a seemingly innocuous expression of attraction, because of the stigma that still surrounds the idea of what it means to be gay, is so great that things like this are capable of happening. And I just find myself incredibly saddened by the whole thing. Larry King certainly did not deserve to lose his life. And Brandon McInerney should have never been so fearful at the thought that someone might look at him differently because of who was attracted to him, that for him the only way to assert his heterosexuality was to murder whom he perceived to be his offender. We, and I've said this before, and if there ever comes a time where I don't have to keep saying it, believe me, I'll stop. But we have got to do better in terms of raising our kids. We have got, no matter what side of the fence you may sit on, we have got to do better in terms of raising our children. Because this world is only getting bigger. And the population of this world is only getting bigger. And with this, massive amount of people on earth, diversity is not something that can be avoided. It is on your televisions, it is on your radios, it is in your schools, it is in your churches, it is in your mosques and your synagogues and the very streets on which you walk. It is everywhere. And if we don't take it back to basics, and I mean real basics, as far as instilling in our children the necessity to live and let live, things like this can happen. Because Larry, who dressed in feminine attire and who may have been of a variant gender identity, had every right to exist in this world as a kid like Brandon McInerney does. And when you have, because I can hear in my head some mother asking herself, when my son comes to me and says, there's this boy and I don't want to punch him in the face, but he likes me in that way and I don't know how to handle it. This is how you tell your son to handle it. Thanks, but no thanks. That's it. That's it. This is not quantum physics. We're not performing a hand transplant. We're not cloning sheep here. Thanks, but no thanks. It is the nicest and most clear way to extricate yourself from what could be an uncomfortable situation. That's just the way I feel about it. And that's my stance on it. So once again, rest in peace, Larry King. And let's work a little bit harder to ensure that things like this won't happen again. That's my piece. Until next time, YouTube. One love.